It is an honor and a privilege to welcome you all on behalf of the IIT Madras Research Park to the second edition of Envision, India's first energy festival in partnership with the India Energy Storage Alliance. Today, the world unanimously recognizes that climate change and greenhouse gas emissions are among the most pressing global challenges. India's unique position as both a low per capita energy consumer and the world's third largest emitter of greenhouse gases makes our stance on this critical issue more important than ever. And as an institution committed to building a knowledge and innovation ecosystem where we bring unlike minds together to collaborate and develop these scalable technology-based solutions, we are truly very proud to be hosting this first of its kind flagship energy convening, where we have today and across the course of the next 2 days be uniting to position India as a driving force in this transition towards a cleaner, more sustainable future. Before we get started, I would like to thank everyone present here, many people who have traveled across all different regions of India to attend this conference and unite in this collective vision. It's been truly heartwarming to see the support pouring in since we had to reschedule from our initial dates due to the cyclone and the subsequent floods that happened in Chennai. Your support truly drives us to double down on our efforts and on this important topic today and make us want to do even more for this cause. We are privileged to have in attendance so many distinguished industry personnel, academicians, entrepreneurs, government representatives who are all pioneering leaders in this field. We believe and we are confident that your knowledge, experience, and sectoral expertise will provide important insights on strengthening India's leadership in energy. And with this, we officially kickstart our conference. I wish you all a very wonderful and insightful 2 days ahead. Thank you, everyone. I would now like to invite our dignitaries onto the stage. I would request Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala, President, IITM Research Park and Incubation Cell, our Minister, Dr. T.R.B. Raja, Minister for Industries, Investment Promotion and Commerce, Government of Tamil Nadu, Dr. Anil Kakotkar, Chancellor at Homi Bhabha National Institute, Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan, co-founder of Infosys, Dr. Rahul Valavalkar, President of AISA, and Mr. Anson Sando, Head Energy Programs, IITM Research Park, to kindly come on to the dais and light the lamp to officiate this inauguration. I would now like to call upon Mr. Anson Sando, Head of Energy Programs at the Research Park, to officially introduce Envision to us.
The rains were lashing hard with cyclone winds, flooded roads, even floating cars like profs, and dark, gloomy skies, until suddenly the sun appeared, and with it, light and perhaps a hope for respite. If you think about it, that's a rather apt setting for a climate change conference. But I swear, we had no part to play in planning that setting out. We're just very glad that each of you could make it out safely. Good morning and a very, very warm welcome to you. Welcome to what we fondly refer to as the Theatre of Dreams, the IIT Madras Research Park for Envision 2023. 2023 because the scene that I narrated at the beginning was from exactly a month ago to date when Chennai reeled under the cyclone and resulting floods. Our conference on climate change was collateral damage to the ensuing climatic event that is now happening with an alarming frequency. Given these climate-related events that we're seeing in India and around the world, I reckon it is safe to say what I repeated last time, that we are probably the first generation of our times to witness the effects and destruction caused by climate change, and perhaps more importantly, the last generation that may be able to do something about it. At IIT Madras Research Park, we've been thinking long and hard about this, and our sense is that there are pathways towards a net zero transition. And over the course of these next few days, we aim to highlight what we believe are some of the most definitive pathways towards a net zero future. We've designed our conference this year to provide width, depth, and a much needed platform. The width comes from the sessions that we've planned out over the course of these next few days that will help provide a comprehensive picture of the tools that we have at our disposal, right from energy storage, electric mobility, micronuclear, and green built environment on day one, to renewable energy generation, carbon capture, heating and cooling, green hydrogen, amongst many others on day two. We've got an exciting lineup of speakers for each of these sessions that will help shed light on the workings of these tools. Now coming into the depth. The depth comes from 4 deep dive brainstorming sessions, which we've conceptualized to serve as a medium to drill down on specific thematic areas such as solar, lab to market of CSIR, heating and cooling, and micronuclear, to essentially march ourselves towards fighting this climate charge. Each of these sessions are designed so that the key discussion topics under each theme are deliberated to help identify the opportunities and gaps, and then help put together a firm action plan for driving leadership in each of these respective areas from India. And then finally, there's a platform we've set up this year. In this technology-led transformation, we believe startups will play a key role in acceleration, innovation, and integration of solutions that will help pave the way towards a net zero future. We put out a challenge and invited startups from across various climate tech areas to apply. And I'm happy to share that we got applications from around the country, all the way from Jharkhand to West Bengal, Gujarat to Kerala, among other states. And after careful rounds of screening and shortlisting, we have invited the top 10 among all the applications we received for a pitch to win session. We're looking to provide these budding entrepreneurs a platform to showcase their solutions and springboard their work. Winners will be rewarded with cash prizes and an opportunity to get incubated at India's leading deep tech incubator, the IIT Madras Incubation Cell. Finally, to showcase the walk to talk approach of us on this broader topic of net zero, we'll be formally launching a report and an alliance called the Zero to Green, which highlights some of these efforts we've taken here at the Research Park in demonstrating this campus to be one of the first in both the technology and cost readiness towards moving towards 100% renewables. Envision serves to act both as a reminder of the gravity of the problem that we have at hand and as an opportunity to celebrate the progress and potential for innovation to solve not just local and national, but global challenges today. To get a sense of what and how we enable this through the IIT MRP ecosystem, I urge you all, while you're here for the conference, to take a tour of the campus. You'll see firsthand a glimpse of how we rally troops here. Now we're ready and raring to go to take on this climate fight. And I'll close by sharing 2 images from the recent floods that showcase the true spirit of Chennai, and with it, a rather apt quote from an African proverb that still rings round in my ears. If you want to go on short, fast sprints, then go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Your presence here serves as a reminder that we can indeed come together. And we here want to do everything in our power to enable a collective spirit, which we believe will be key in envisioning a sustainable future for all. Thank you to each and every single one of you for showing up and joining us today amidst these arduous climatic settings. I take this opportunity to welcome you all once again to Envision 2023. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would now request our chief guest, Dr. T.R.B. Raja, Minister for Industries, Investment Promotion and Commerce, Government of Tamil Nadu, to share a few words. Please, sir.
Good morning, one and all. I'm here because of the insistence of my beloved Professor Junjunwala Avargal. It's good to share this stage with amazing gentlemen who are here to give us insights into the route that we need to take to ensure that we handle this climate crisis that is looming ahead of us properly. Before we begin, I must say, getting into IIT has always been a problem, especially for me. I know it's a big problem for many people. It's pretty tough for many people. It was always been tough for me. And every time I come here, I have this feeling that Professor is indirectly promoting his pod transport, which he wants to see being put up in Chennai very soon. And every time I come to IIT Madras Research Park, I'm reminded of Bengaluru and its traffic, because Chennai is much better, only this one stretch. But being part of the government, I can assure you that we're correcting this issue. We are trying to make sure that this entry is much smoother. We're building a few bridges, and this commute is going to be easier for you. I keep telling him, so it's either 11 o'clock or you have it at 7:45, I'm okay. But he insists on at a 9:30 event. But anyway, whenever Professor Junjunwala calls, we are at his service. The kind of service that he's been doing, especially here with this IIT Research Park, is amazing. And we, as part of the Tamil Nadu government, the Chief Minister himself has very keen interest in this park. And I personally am, every time I come here, I'm amazed by the things that you people here are doing. And it's especially awkward when I come in late with such esteemed people on the dais. So what I'm trying to say is I'm sorry that I'm late. I think you guys will accept that not many politicians say they're sorry. So that's a change. But anyway, what we have is, we don't have is the privilege of choosing our time, because every day morning we have people with their own requests, so we really can't start at our own choice of timing. And that's where IIT Research Park needs to step in and make sure that our community is made easier. I'm expecting those pods to be rolled out very, very soon. Well, Tamil Nadu and this Envision, that whatever Professor Junjunwala has come up with today, is very in tune with the focus of the Tamil Nadu government. The government of Tamil Nadu is holding this Tamil Nadu Global Investors Meet on the 7th and 8th of January. This is also a personal invite from me to you, that all of you bright young minds should definitely come over to the event. We're having some amazing speakers, including Arvind Subramaniam, Ragam Rajan, Mallika Srinivasan ma'am. Chris Miller is going to be there, the Chippewa guy. And hordes of other amazing talents are going to speak in this, what we want to showcase as a celebration of knowledge, a celebration of talent, and the celebration of Tamil Nadu as a knowledge hub and the knowledge capital of India. Coming to this event, climate change is very close to my mind also. I've always said that people should have climate common sense. That's something the government of Tamil Nadu is also trying to inculcate into every single mind, from school, from college. And we're trying to make this part of the society. You do know that climate consciousness does not come easily, does not come in a day. It also takes a few disasters like what we've had recently for people to wake up and see that this is Mother Nature being angry. And it's time that as a society that all of us come together and be the change that we want to see. As far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, I just want to just talk about three things that are coming up and which I would love to have all of you dwell into. The first one would be offshore wind, which myself and Professor Jinwala himself is very, very keen on. We're very bullish on the prospects of offshore wind. But at the same time, you must know that we must also keep in mind that offshore wind per se might also affect livelihoods of the fishermen, of the fishing community. So it's very key that we balance this very properly. The government of India has already come out of the tender for about 7,000 megawatts of offshore wind. The Tamil Nadu coast, as you know, one of the biggest, longest coast in India, and one of the most blessed with wind energy. We have close to about 60-70 gig of wind potential, various estimates. Right now, we are looking at a 10 gig of initial deployment. But the deployment, I personally am worried that it might lead to cables running over coral reefs in the south of Tamil Nadu, just off the coast of Tamil Nadu. I would describe myself as a bit of an eco warrior. I love the forest. I stay in the forest. I've been in the forest all my life. I do a bit of diving also. But then, when you get to see nature up close and you see that there could be something going wrong with it because of of the greed of humankind, you need to be very cautious about your step. And when you're blessed with being in the chair where you can make the change, I think that gives me that extra push to make sure that we don't take that wrong step. Just because it's available, it's not written that we must take it. We must ensure that we share it properly with nature. I would definitely not like to see the offshore cables running over and messing up the coral reefs of South Tamil Nadu. So there's a problem that you guys have to quickly come up with a solution for minimizing that effect, and probably looking at other ways to do it. But offshore is extremely key. We did talk about floating electrolyzers last time when I was here. The good people from the UK were here and they were talking about dolphins. They called it the dolphin. It was a floating electrolyzer for your H2. Hydrogen is something which is extremely promising. The government of Tamil Nadu has already had at least 3 MOUs for hydrogen itself. But for me, green hydrogen is not green unless it has a pump storage inbuilt, right? When you could have all the green energy, you could have all the solar, all the wind available, but then it's only during that particular period of the day or particular period of the year. So you would definitely need pump storage, especially closed slope, I would say. Run of the river will not suffice. I'm also worried about the river ecosystem. Pump storage is definitely one key part of the entire green hydrogen step that we are taking in Tamil Nadu. So, but then when you look at pump storage, where are you going to pump that water up to? There's only so much of elevated spaces available in Tamil Nadu. We can't do it in, say, ATR. Anamala Tiger Reserve is a definite no-go zone, right? And any of the Western Ghats. The Western Ghats is one of our best protected zones. We really can't do that there. And we have a bit of a Eastern Ghats locations, few of them which are okay. The TANGEDCO has identified about 15 locations, I'm told, but I'm not too comfortable with many of them. So these are all things that all of you bright minds must come up with. We need solutions for this. Pump storage is key, but where do we pump the water to? And how do we do this without affecting the environment? So that's another thing that I'm going to put out there for you to dwell upon. And the next one, and the last one that I would want to talk about is, as I said, climate common sense. How do we inculcate this into the public's mind? How do we do it from school and sustain it up to college and going forward too? How do we do this is something the government of Tamil Nadu, the Chief Minister, Honorable Chief Minister, is thinking of every single day. And we already have a tea and green fund, green climate fund. I don't know how many other states have it. It's a 1,000 crore fund for green products that people like the lovely people here can develop. The government of Tamil Nadu is willing to chip in with about 1,000 crores of venture fund. This is probably, I think this is a category 1 social venture fund as far as SEBI 2012 regulations is concerned. So these are all the things that the government of Tamil Nadu is putting out there for young minds to develop on. We already have a green mission. We have people like Eric Solomon advising us on this. So this government per se is probably one of the greenest governments in India. Tamil Nadu itself is 50% green. We are 40% solar in it, 60% wind. We're pushing ourselves to go up to 75% at least in the next decade at least. And offshore is very, very key for that target. So I would love to have this team here, this festival, the Energy Festival, to dwell upon all these ideas and come up with ideas to help this government and India reach its sustainability goals. This government is very, very, very keen on sustainability. We have been thus for the longest time. You do know that we did our best during the recent calamities, but whatever any government tries, there's nothing stopping Mother Nature unless we all come together and work as one team. And Government of Tamil Nadu is willing to be part of the team in making sure that we fight this war, fight this climate change crisis as one. So thank you for having me here. I hope to see all of you at the Global Investors Meet on the 7th and 8th of January. Looking forward to coming over to your own pavilion. I'm hearing, Mr. Junwala, so Professor, that you have there. So I'm going to be coming over to see that also. So thanks for having me here. I'm rushing straight out to another event with the Chief Minister, where we are focusing again on the sustainability side. We are working on something special for Tamil Nadu. You might get to know about this during the gym on the 7th and 8th. So please come over to the gym and make it special. Thanks for having me here. Have a good day. Cheers.
I would next like to invite our guest of honor, a distinguished luminary in nuclear energy, Dr. Anil Kakotkar, Chancellor of the Homi Bhabha National Institute. Would request you, sir, to come and share a few insights with us.
Professor Junjunwala, Shri Chris Gopalakrishnan, Dr. Valaolkar, Mr. Anson, all people keen on addressing one of the most important survival issues around this time, were assembled here. Put your heads together and see how you solve this problem for the country and for the humanity. First of all, I want to congratulate Professor Junjunwala for visualizing this kind of meeting. Climate change is something which is often talked about. Several meetings right up to the international, global political level are held. But this gathering, it seems to me, is quite unique because you have several idea people, several startups, several people concerned with energy issues, all coming together in a setting where you have an institution like IIT Madras, its faculty, its students, the IIT Madras Research Park, where we are meeting, a kind of, at this moment, perhaps the only a unique place where industry and academia has come together in a most meaningful way. And then, of course, there are several other stakeholders who are here in this gathering. I find the design of the program also quite thoughtful. One could have thought about, bring everything under the sun. But clearly, Professor Jhunjhunwala has a design. So this program has been designed to fulfill that design. And I think it is incumbent on all of us to be a part of that solution that is being envisaged, that's being aimed at. Talking about climate change, there are, of course, many dimensions. So particularly the energy or clean energy transition that one is looking for as a solution has to be handled at multiple levels. At the level of the supply of clean energy, let's say on a national scale, making use of that energy and fulfill the requirements on the demand side in this change scenario, in this clean energy transition, is going to be, in my view, a bigger problem than what we have visualized so far. And this is going to involve, that is, getting so much of energy, getting that energy all the way to consumers in a large country like India. But this would involve a large number of technologies for converting the clean energy sources into energy in usable form. And the usable form today may consist of electricity, of course, but it's a small fraction, maybe 18, 20%, 22% of the total energy that we consume. And fossil energy, the form of oil, gas, coal, occupying a very large part. And then there are other, which also we use at the consumer end. That is going to flip over completely, because the clean energy source that we are targeting to access at this moment, maybe tomorrow it will change, but at this moment, most of them, all renewable energy sources, today we are thinking of essentially coming out as electricity first, although solar can also make a big contribution on thermal, but if you see the present picture, it's essentially electricity. That's true with wind, that's true with hydro, and of course it's also true with nuclear. Also, nuclear also can supply a lot in the form of heat, but the present scene is all electricity. On the use side, of course, we'll want to use electricity as much as we can. It's both essential because then you don't have to go through so many conversion steps, but it also contributes to a lot of efficiency. So we expect our electricity game to be much more efficient because of electricity. But then it can't be occupying near 100% on the demand side. It's impossible. And that, I think, I'm not too sure how much of realization has come in. Take the case of hydrogen. Today, the buzzword for hydrogen is electrolyzers. If you meet all the hydrogen requirements through electrolyzer, you obviously will require that much more energy. And for that matter, if you say that the consumption of energy will be essentially out of electricity and hydrogen or its derivative of some kind, and I'm not counting bioenergy at this moment because that's, after all, it's going to be something like not a very large part, maybe 10-15% at the max. So, if you say electrolyzer is the key mode of producing electricity, producing hydrogen, and that will be the prime supply of energy to industry, apart from electricity, of course. But then the electricity supply would have to occupy near 80% of the total energy use, which is currently only around 20%. So we not only have to scale up our energy consumption because we are on development path, but talking in terms of electricity, we have to also scale up by an additional maybe 4 times or 5 times, simply because electricity is going to be the dominant share of total energy that we consume. So now on that scale, you require technologies, component technologies, to do a variety of things. Again, whether it's at the supply end or at the demand end, and many of them have come on scene, many of them have in fact made a big entry in the marketplace. But the point I wish to make at this stage is the narrative which is driving this transition. Of course, it has to be market-driven, but it's market-driven based on the perspective of people who play in the market somewhere else. We need to change that narrative based on the perspective of people like you, who are trying to exploit the new market, and India is decidedly the largest market. And I'll give you just a small example. I was the first chairman of Solar Energy Corporation of India. And let me narrate a failure story. People talk about success stories. So I was very keen that while we talk about solar energy for electricity, photovoltaic, and we have seen the great transition which has taken place, rightly so, and which is very important, decidedly. But the point I was trying to drive at that time is, see, you require this energy both for decentralized use as well as centralized use. Because if you focus only on decentralized use, maybe in terms of individual, it will make a big contribution. It is making a big contribution. But at the national level, you have to have the grid in between and transport that energy through the medium of grid on that scale. And moment you are talking about a source which is grid connected, obviously storage is bound to be important. And then everybody was talking about battery storage, again, which is very important because again, you need that from small scale to large scale. But the simple point is when you're talking about grid level storage, you have to worry about cost much more than other storages. You have to worry about storage, not just for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, but you have to worry about storage, which may last more than a day, because there are patterns, vagaries of nature, where things have happened. They have happened in India, they have happened in other countries, including advanced countries. When we're talking about storage at that level, of course, Minister mentioned very correctly the pump storage, very important. But when you produce solar energy, primarily, as we receive, it's heat. And you store heat itself on that scale, it's probably going to be a much cheaper option. So supplying round-the-clock electricity through solar, if at the grid level, if you have solar thermal, obviously that's going to be a good option. But the pundits they said, let's call for a tender, look at the cost, and there's bound to be a difference between the so-called factory manufactured, mass-produced items, like the solar panel, and a solar thermal plant, which has to be a custom-built item. So the cost came higher, and that was literally the death of solar thermal. And we are now reviving that discussion again. Now, this is what I mean by, shaping the narrative. If we had probably a meeting of this kind at that time, probably that would not have happened. So, all I want to stress is we are all here. I'm not going to talk about nuclear here. I'm going to talk about it later. But I think there are lots and lots of interesting challenges. There is a huge opportunity, and an opportunity which will also be in the service of nation in a very big way. But let us shape our narrative in the right way as we think. I'm not saying that we cannot go wrong, we can go wrong, but we can correct. But the setting of that narrative has to be done here by us Indians. And that's why I'm very happy to be here. And I wish you all success in this endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I would next like to invite Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan, Chairman of Axela Ventures and co-founder of Infosys, to deliver a few words.
Good morning to all of you. I'm privileged to share the stage with Dr. Anil Thakurkar and Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala. And you will realize when I take you through my thought process, why I believe it's my privilege to share the platform with both of them. Dr. Thakurkar has been pioneering the use of the right energy sources such that India can become
energy independent, where that independent means that we will generate our requirements from sources within the country, or we create a energy mix such that we will become self-sufficient in energy. And Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala, over and above putting together, the Envision platform, has also put together the IIT Madras Research Park ecosystem, which I believe is a model that we need to think about when we think creating a ecosystem for the energy independence. And I'll illustrate this with nuclear. And the reason for that is we have been talking about nuclear from way back, I think in 1950s also, right? And we had a lot of the technologies, but we are not a big player and we don't generate a lot of our energy requirements from nuclear. It's about 1.6%, approximately 2%. Now, let me set the context this way. This is the new year beginning, and we are in the first week of the new year. And if you look back at 2023, to me, two events stand out. One is democratization of AI, artificial intelligence, through the release of ChatGPT and related tools, which has given all of us, and whosoever has a mobile phone, a tablet, a computer, a PC, access to a wonderful technology, which is artificial intelligence, at our fingertips. But what is interesting to me is that with advances in technology like this, our power requirements are also increasing. You know, I went through some interesting statistics. Last year, the average, now this is for iPhone, which is what I use, iPhone customer used 1.6 GB of data a month. So in a year, you're using 19 GB of data. And 19 GB of data requires approximately, in a year, 361 kilowatt of electricity per year. This is one person using an iPhone. 361 kilowatt per year. In fact, this is actually less than what a refrigerator would consume in a year. Now, we think this is such a small thing, but it consumes more power than what a refrigerator would consume in a year. So, anytime such advances happen, and if we want to fully empower our citizens, our energy requirements will go up. And I'll come back to this again. The second thing is, last year we saw also the transition to electric vehicles. Of course, we are replacing one type of fuel with another type of fuel, and electric vehicles are supposed to be more efficient in energy usage. It uses less energy than a comparable fossil fuel vehicle. But still, in the case of India, we are also seeing the number of vehicles on the road increasing significantly. And government is also, of course, encouraging the transition to electric vehicles. But as we substitute fossil fuel used in an automobile with grid power being pulled from the grid using an electric vehicle, again, the per capita power usage is going to increase from the grid. Now, if I look at the per capita power consumption, where India is compared to other countries, India in 2022, the kilowatt per person is 7,143. 1965, this was 1,239. So we have gone up approximately 7 times in the last, 50 years almost. But look at where China is, 31,051, France 36,052, Germany 40,977, Japan 39,000, UK 30,000, US 78,000, and the world average is 21,000. We are actually 1/3 of what world average is. And as we transition to a developed economy, this current per capita energy consumption of 7,143, even if it goes to 21,039, which is today's world average, that's 3 times. But if we want to go to, we don't want to go to what US is consuming. US probably has to, reduce. Let's take, 50,000. Even then, we have to increase our power generation by 7 times. 7 times. Definitely, I strongly believe that the transition to a developed economy will increase the energy consumption. So when I look at the energy mix today, 57% is fossil fuel based, 43% is non-fossil fuel, and out of which nuclear is only 1.6%, as I already mentioned. Now, we probably cannot leave anything off the table, take anything off the table. I strongly believe that nuclear option must be looked at, especially with new technologies that are emerging. I'm just focusing on nuclear just to make a point. We should look at all the other sources also. And let's assume for the time being that we want to take nuclear from 2% to 10%. That's 5 times. But also our energy requirement is going to go up by 7 times. Right? So, which means that we have to look at 30 times what we are doing today. If we want nuclear to be 10% of our energy mix, 30 times the installed capacity to get to 10%. Now, what is the percentage? I think forums like this will discuss, but we can't take nuclear, which is a technology that we have invested in, we have the knowledge, we have the capability. We should definitely look at this. Now, this brings me to, and by the way, I wanted to quote our former president, Abdul Kalam. Way back in, I think 2006, he said nuclear power generation has been given a thrust by the use of uranium-based fuel. However, there should be a requirement for 10-fold increase in nuclear power generation even to attain a reasonable degree of energy self-sufficiency for our country. Way back he said 10 times, and I think in today's calculation is probably much more than 10 times. And there is also the Atomic Energy Commission, which put out a report again sometime back, 2008 actually. I have access to only this thing, older reports. Installed capacity at that point was 6.78 gigawatts to 650 gigawatts. This is the 100 times increase of nuclear generation. So we need to really think about this actually with the objective of one, meeting the energy requirements of a developed economy, energy requirements of our citizens, and not taking nuclear off the table. We should look at other sources of energy also. Now, how do we get there? We have to think big. We cannot think small. We cannot think in piecemeal. We have to think of this as a strategic initiative for the country. We have to think of this as creating an industry which is $100 billion to $300 billion. We have to think of this as an export opportunity for India, not just for domestic use. Can we become an important player in this space? If we go the nuclear route, what are the things that we need to do? And this is where the research park ecosystem comes to my mind, because we need to have industry do the research and development, which is 3 to 5 year horizon, which means applied research. Can we make improvements in the product? Can we increase the productivity? Can we look at exports? Can we look at what is going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years? This has to be thought of. Parallelly, of course, manufacturing has to happen. We need to create the ecosystem for manufacturing, component sub-assemblies, assembly of these devices or appliances, etc. We need to look at multiple technologies, generation of technology. So research has to be co-located with that. Looking at what is going to come 5 years from now, 10 years from now, is a micro generation unit How will it look like? What are the components of it? Is it safe? How does a small nuclear reactor look like? How, of course, a large capacity nuclear reactor look like? What are the future technologies that are going to change the generation capability, the safety, the quality of the power? How do we integrate it with the grid? So the research aspects have to be thought through. There has to be a startup ecosystem, because typically it's the startups which are risk funded that will bring these new products to market. It's not existing industry, existing companies that will take the risk to do this. A startup which is funded by risk funding is one which will take this to market first. And later on, when it's proven, probably when the business model is proven, it may get acquired by a larger entity. So there has to be a startup ecosystem, an incubation system, and there has to be also thought about the lab to market, TRL3 to TRL78, which is the difficult phase where funding typically will not come from the VC community or the PE community, must have to be funded probably by government or philanthropy. Now, IIT Madras ecosystem has all these components. The research park ecosystem has all these components. How can we replicate what I call the innovation hub? In nuclear, we probably need to create maybe 5, 6 hubs like this across the country, looking at different aspects. We have to think strategically for the next 15, 20 years, and we have to create that industry. It takes that much time, it takes that much effort, and it has to be of significant size. For a country of India's size, third largest, we hope to become the third largest economy in the world. This has to be $100 billion to $300 billion of industry size. Now, how can we get there? What are the components that are required? How do we work together to create this? And it has to be industry, academia, research, startup ecosystem, the funding ecosystem, all of these coming together to create a $300 billion industry. That is what is required for us to get there. Now, research should be unconstrained. When it comes to implementation, then we need to think about putting constraints. Policies are important. Stability of policy, because this is a 20, 30-year roadmap. Stability of policies are important. Certain states, and I thought the presence of the industries minister was appropriate here. A state like Tamil Nadu probably should take lead in incubating this and saying that we will play a role in creating this in Tamil Nadu and showing the way for the rest of the country. Now, if we have to get energy independence by 2047, we have to think big. And I'm very happy that Envision is being held here at IIT Madras Research Park. Let me congratulate all of you, compliment all of you for participating in this. I hope that at the end of the 3 days, you will come out with a roadmap to get to a $300 billion industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And now, in conclusion of our inaugural ceremony, I would request Dr. Rahul Valawalkar, President of AISA, to come and say a few words.
Thank you very much. I think we have had excellent opening remarks during the session, which has set the context for this session and next 2 days very well. We are here. First of all, I'd like to thank Professor Junjunwala. 2.5 years back, when he contacted me talking about his dream for bringing together both industry and academia together, not just for one particular technology, but looking at all the technologies with both short, medium, as well as longer term time horizon, and try to encourage industry academia collaborations. It felt like it was a much bigger dream, but the kind of response what we have received last year as well as this year shows that this event was very much required, and the vision what Dr. Jhunjhunwala has set up and the guidance what we are receiving from Honorable Dr. Kakodkar as well as Chris Gopal Krishnan and others is very important. Also, we are here in Tamil Nadu, which has emerged as amongst the top two states for driving industrialization as well as adoption of clean energy. That's also very important, because when we are talking about net zero transition or some of the climate challenges, one thing is very evident, that we cannot keep on doing things the way it has happened over last maybe 50 years, because most of the times major technologies, be it solar, be it lithium-ion batteries, be it cellular technology, it has taken almost 30 to 40 years for technologies to reach from labs to mass scale adoption. And unfortunately, we do not have another 30 years for many of the technologies what we'll discuss in next 2 days to commercialize. We need to bring in a lot more focus on manufacturing, manufacturability, and the way the sessions are organized over next 2 days will cover all these topics. So again, without further delay, I would like to once again take an opportunity to thank Professor Jhunjhunwala, Dr. Kakodkar, Mr. Chris Gopal Krishnan, as well as Honorable Minister Mr. Raja, and my partner in crime, Anson, for this wonderful opportunity. And I would like to thank all of you for coming together. I know sometimes it is quite daunting to see all these diverse technologies discussed on a same platform. But I can tell you from last year's experience, I think each of the session, the way it is organized and the depth of the presentations and discussions, you will find it worth your time. But one of the things is there are also a lot of interdisciplinary efforts are going to be required for scaling up many of these technologies, such as balance of the systems or many of the technology commercialization pathways. We can learn from different sectors and try to leapfrog. So there may be many opportunities for young startups as well as existing industries for maybe looking at new opportunities. And the whole idea behind this 3 days gathering is to try to encourage that dialogue and help this transition faster. So thank you, everyone.